My goodness, no audio that entire time. I don't remember what I said, guys. I don't remember. Hello, welcome to my live stream. That is because I plugged in my laptop with the charger, so I had to move the microphone to the other USB. So fingers crossed, now that works. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining me. I just said my usual nice introduction, and you're just going to have to trust me on that. Trust me on that. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you very much for joining me. And if you're watching live, that is cool. I can edit this when it goes on the replay, so I'll try and just edit out the bit without any sound. It was weird. There were no comments, though. Nothing came through for a couple of minutes, which is strange. Now I see you all. I see you all. Hello, everybody. If you do have a cruise question, if you can start it with question in capital letters, that just helps me to pick out what is a question. And if you have any cruise thoughts on your mind, this is a place that we can talk about them. I'm here for the next hour. So that's it. Cruise boys say, and now we will never know what you said. You will never know. You'll just have to trust me. Trust me, I didn't say anything mean. I didn't know that I was muted, so I definitely wouldn't do that. Fabulous. How are Hudson and Rolo getting along? Have they become closer, says Joe? Yes, definitely. So Hudson is my cat and Rolo is my dog. We last summer adopted my dog Rolo. He's a Romanian rescue dog, a street dog. He was found in a graveyard, and now he lives with me, and he much prefers it. He is a delight. He's so nice. And yeah, they get on pretty well. You know, I don't have to worry about leaving them alone or anything like that, which is good. And I catch them, you know, sitting together on the sofa and things like that. So yes. Cruise boys say, what is the squash flavor this week? This is cranberry and raspberry. I'm not sold on it, you know. It's no Vimto, that's for sure. But I'm trying something different. So my main thing that I wanted to say in that introduction was thank you so much to everyone who has commented on my Norwegian Aqua videos. I released 2 last week, one on my channel and then one about the Haven over on Norwegian's channel. And that one has over 1,000 comments. 500 of them are me, because I've been replying to every single comment. But it is lovely. Like, I cannot thank you enough. It makes such a massive difference. For me, it's always strange because I don't normally do new ship launches. And so I was hoping that everyone would still want to watch my content after having already seen 200 Norwegian Aqua ship tours. And thankfully, it seems like you guys liked mine. So that was cool. But yes, thank you so much. And thank you on my channel. I always try and leave a secret message or a secret word to comment on the pinned comment on my YouTube videos. And I asked everyone to talk about the giraffe, just to confuse people who didn't read that, I guess. I think it's funny. And the comments are so funny. If ever you want to laugh, just go and have a look. It's the most recent video on my channel. The one on my channel is the story, sort of normal 5-day, as normal as a new ship launch can be, normal 5-day kind of cruise. And then I move into Haven. And that one is on Norwegian's channel. So that is very, very cool. Very, very cool. Can't wait to sail on Aqua next year. I'm very envious. It's a very, very nice ship. Really, really nice. Some lovely comments in here. Thank you so much, everyone, for your lovely comments. You were all very kind. I think sometimes on the internet, it can feel like people aren't very nice. But I have to reassure you that the vast, vast, vast majority of the people in the world are very, very, very nice. I meet a lot of people. People are very interesting. People are very kind. The thing about the internet is it's trying to find things that make people angry and then showing them that. So I have to remember that if everyone is angry at me on Facebook for something, it's not because of me particularly. It's because Facebook has gone, aha, I know who will get angry. Let's show them that. But I have to just say, I speak to probably 100 people on every cruise now. I ask everyone how it's going. And I've done that for, well, since 2016, I started my website. So I've asked a lot of people how their cruises are going. And I can remember maybe like 2 people that have said that they're not having a good time ever. So, yeah. Stuart, we wanted to do a Japan cruise with NCL next spring, but no cruises. Heard any rumors as to why? I don't think so, because Norwegian were ramping up their Japan itineraries. They had 2 ships there this year. So I haven't heard any rumors or anything like that. It might just be not ready yet. But it is, if you get the chance, do it. Best cruises I've ever taken in Japan. Lovely Friday. Yep, Friday. Friday. Strange Friday, but it is a Friday. Aw, there's a comment saying, I am claustrophobic, but I love cruising. Bravely tried an inside cabin last month. It was amazing. There we go. Yeah. Some people do find inside cabins claustrophobic. I I don't really think about it that much. I have shared inside cabins, ocean view cabins, when I was a teenager with my brother and my parents. So I have had 4 people in an inside cabin. I still don't think it's claustrophobic. It's more tricky. You know, if you have 4 pairs of shoes on the floor, that takes up most of the floor space. So it's a bit tricky, but yeah. Um, are you a travel agent? I'm not myself a travel agent. People assume I'm a travel agent, which makes sense. So I do have recommendations. The one that I use is on my website. I have a team in the US too, and we're hard at work on some interesting things. So yeah, if ever you need a travel agent, you don't have one, I have ones I recommend on emmacruises.com. Why is it a strange Friday? It doesn't feel like a Friday. Maybe it's because Monday is a bank holiday here in the UK. I think it doesn't really make a difference to me what is a bank holiday, public holiday, for those of you outside the UK, but it doesn't really feel like a real Friday today. Not sure. Not sure. Michael says, is Haven truly worth the additional costs? It's so tricky to say, is anything worth it? Because it depends. Do you have £1,000 and this is the last £1,000 you have, or do you have £100,000? Like, it's very, very different. How often are you going to cruise? Yeah, like, is it worth it to you? Is it worth it to me? Probably different questions. I mean, for me, I prefer quantity over quality of cruises right now, but I meet a lot of people who work very hard, a lot of people who have hardly any time off a year. They might get 2 weeks off a year. They want to do it well, right? So worth it is different for every person, but what they do very, very well. What is a bank holiday called? Bank holiday is just a public holiday. They're all called bank holidays in the UK. Yeah, John says I thought it was Thursday. Exactly. Yeah, and the sun is shining. Yeah, all of that. My mum is sharing the link to our book a cruise page. Yep. Yep. Ooh, Tina says, not long back from our first Morella cruise, and I loved it. While still on board, we booked a Caribbean one. There you go. There you go. Yeah, cruise boys say the Asia cruises sell out very quickly. You need to book earlier as the season is pretty short. Yes. If you want to do it, do it. Don't dilly dally. Don't dilly dally. I think the days of sort of, I mean, you can wait for a last minute deal, but I hear so often from people who said, "Oh, I'd wait and see if the price is going to go down." And then it sells out and then they're sad. So yeah, if you want to do it, book it as far in advance as you can. Bank holidays are Britishism. Yes, it is. I don't even know what. Well, yeah, it's not really to do with the banks. I guess it was originally. Oh my goodness, doing 42 days in an inside cabin. Wow, that is amazing. That is really, really cool. You might have noticed next to me, I have a beautiful piece of art. A beautiful piece of art. This is something a little bit different, but this is from the cruise maps. I don't know how many of you know, we have a partnership with Cunard. We do normally these printed maps, but we have this, and I think it is the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. The detail on these lifeboats is just, it's impossible for me to show you. I've seen the pictures, I've taken pictures. It just doesn't do it justice. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And Queen Mary too, I think, is the most. It's such a good looking ship. Don't you think? I always get comments about how ugly modern cruise ships are, and I always say no, they're not. But then when you compare it to a Queen Mary 2, then you know. Simon says, do you know if Morella is going to sail America in future? I don't think they're sailing from America. They do sail in the Caribbean. Up until now, it has been the case that Americans cannot book. I send out my newsletter and all of the replies are, this website's blocked for me in America because you cannot do it. But hopefully next week, maybe even sooner than next week, my US travel agent team can book Morella cruises and TUI cruises. So Dan, my head of the US travel agents team, will be on the live stream next week, and he can describe more than I can. But yes, exciting. In the UK, the term bank holiday refers to a public holiday when banks are officially closed, along with businesses, schools, and government offices. Yes. Why is the one Hudson behind you hanging upside down? I think it sums them up pretty nicely. Like, it's just a bit cheeky. They're a little bit cheeky. I like to move them around my cabin, and people like to find them in the videos, and I just think it's interesting. Oh, Dan. Dan is in here. Hello, Dan. It is nice to see you. Yes, next week. So I have guests next week on my live stream, which is always fun. Always fun. Yeah, Andy says, gonna say the same about bank holidays. Literally what it says on the tin. Yes, what it says on the tin. I should say while this is here, you can use my discount on this as well. So if you use Emma Cruises, that's a discount on all of our cruise maps and this and the album, absolutely everything. I do have the latest print, my latest cruise. So I don't know how much if anyone has noticed this, but I have a theme when it comes to my maps that I have in here, and I always do a bit of alliteration. So we have this one, which was a Greek cruise, so I called that one Greek Getaway. This one I called Cruising Cousins because I went on a cruise with my cousin. Makes sense. This one is Alaskan Adventure. I think that one speaks for itself. This one is a Bruges break because it went to Bruges. This one is MSC Memories on MSC. That's the Emma Cruises one with my logo on it. Very cool. This one I don't have a title, so I must have forgotten that one. Silly me. And I have just got my first. I have Turbulent Transatlantic. Don't know how much you guys remember that Transatlantic. Pretty turbulent. And I have my first river cruise one on here too, which I called the. You can read this one. This is what I called this one. Please focus on me. There we go. Italian Inferno. Come on. There we go. Italian Inferno. The shortest map that I have at 62 nautical miles. 62 nautical miles. So this is the cruise that I did on Norwegian Aqua for anyone interested in where we went. So we went from Lisbon up to Southampton, the classic sort of loop going to Bruges and back. So technically this was 2 cruises, but I have 1 cruise card and I didn't get off in between. So I'm counting that as 1 cruise. Panic over, everyone. I'm here. Hello, Jamie. Nice to see you. Where is Wally Hudson? He was here a minute ago. We have the Dreamies right here, but it's up to him. The sun's shining, so I think he's in the. I think he's in the sun. Is there a playlist of the other videos you've made that aren't hosted on your channel? No, there's not yet. Probably a good idea though. But it's only Norwegian's channel, and there's 1 video on MSC's channel. That is it. You're not missing else. Yeah, we do have the shortest cruise. It depends how you count a cruise. My shortest cruise technically is 0 miles, but we could all say that, right? We could all say that. What did you think of Sky Princess? Lovely cruise. I took that cruise with my dad. We did like a British Isles kind of cruise. It was just after the pandemic, so it was when we had to do excursions in bubbles. And looking back on that, that was absolutely crazy. By bubbles, I mean groups, not literal, not like those bubbles that you do bubble football in. But we all had to do the same thing. So we were on one tour with my mum, and we all had to go to the toilet. Like if one person needed the toilet, the whole group had to go. And I don't see how that is safer than just that one person going. Yeah. What is the bank holiday on Monday? It's just May Day. I don't know what the point of that one is. What is the point of that one in May? It's always the first Monday in May. Everyone has off. What are you having for Friday dinner? Good question. I will let everyone else in the comments answer that. It is something with something. And you will know. You will know. Yes. First time being able to catch a live stream. Awesome. Nice to see you. We've been doing these live streams for a long time, regularly since 2020, pretty much every single week. And there's the odd one that I did in 2017, I think. If you want to go back and watch that, that was a long time ago. Yep, Jack has it straight away. Pizza with ketchup. That's it. Pizza with ketchup. Pizza with ketchup. Yes. Pizza with red dip. Yes. Yes, that's it. Seen a podcast with another channel. Yes, that's true. I'm on a lot of podcasts across the years. I could put all of them together, maybe. Yeah, you're probably thinking of the Sail Away magazine podcast. That's the most recent one that I've been on. But I am just in voice on, Cruise Tips TV and other podcasts like that. But yeah, I don't have a playlist with all of those in them. Probably a good idea though. So yeah, I should do that. Do you hide Captain Hudsons on ships like passengers hide ducks on cruises? I don't. They're too expensive, to be honest, to hide them around ships. But some people do hand them to the crew or they give them to other passengers and stuff, which is really nice. But yeah, he's kind of too precious to me anyway. I couldn't set him down and walk away and leave him and not know what's going to happen to him. I do put the Captain Hudson books, if there's a library, normally I sign them and I put them in there. Because some people ask me to sign them. It feels weird to sign them, but I did sign them. So yeah, if ever you're on a cruise shortly after me, you might find the books in the library, maybe. Yeah, Jamie says it would be so useful as a creator to be able to easily search everything you've appeared in. It would be, yeah. I sort of have alerts and things set up, so occasionally I pop up in different places that I didn't know about, or someone's talking about a TikTok I made or something on some sort of sites, which is interesting. But yeah, any Rolo plushie Rolo updates? How's the Rolo version coming along? No real updates yet. I hope it works out. I don't know how much to say. let's just yeah, fingers crossed it works out. I mean, Captain Hudson, made in China. My main customer is in the US, and I can't see any way to make this work at the minute. But I hope so, because we have raised an incredible amount of money for Mercy Ships. I really want to raise money for the charity that Rolo came from, but I just need the numbers to work. I cannot be charging people a ridiculous amount of money. I want all the money to go to the charity, of course, of course. Jamie says, someone talking smack about you. Plenty of people, I'm sure, but that's the price you pay, I think, for being on the internet. Definitely is. What are your favorite shipboard activities and rides, like carts, slides, surfing, and the like? So I have been on the go-karts. I did them on a Norwegian cruise. I thought it was fun for it's like 2 minutes. It's not very long, but I enjoyed the go. Not something I need on a cruise. I'm not looking to a cruise to have go-karts on it when it's just me, particularly. And the slides, I like slides. Aqua coaster, that was so great on board Norwegian Aqua. That would be my pick out of these three. I have done the surf simulator. I'm glad I've done it, and I didn't make a fool of myself, so I'm taking that as a win. Like, at the moment, I have 100% success rate on that, so I don't want to do it again. Yeah. Can you see ships getting larger? From Simon and Nikki. I think for a while, yes. We're going to get to a point where cruise ships can't really get any bigger because they can't go anywhere. They need to be able to go under bridges. They need to be able to dock. I know a lot of places are, getting used to bigger cruise ships and things, but at some point, you would think there has to be an end to it. That said, though, when they released ships in the 1990s and you watch the promotional videos, it says, this is the biggest, fastest, most amazing cruise ship ever. And they have the same conversations then. And we found a way to make them 4 times bigger. So who knows? Maybe we'll see a ship with 20,000 people on it. I don't know. Jamie says, I thought reading a book in peace was your favorite shipboard activity. I haven't read a book, like a proper book. I was going to say decades, and to be honest, that might be true. I don't have the time to sit. I don't sit still ever, so I don't really read. I listen to audiobooks all the time whenever I'm, walking the dog, or if I'm putting away laundry or whatever else I'm doing. I'm always listening to a book. I'm never just in silence ever. Like, if I'm setting up the live stream, I'm pressing play on an audiobook always. But I don't really read them with my eyes because I need to multitask. That's what it is. Yeah, that's true. They'll build ships specifically to dock offshore and never move, says Jamie. Maybe. I don't know. Have you been narrow boating? I've not. No, I would consider it. Sounds good to me. Sounds hopefully peaceful. But yeah, I haven't done it yet. Do you prefer adult-only cruises or family cruises, says Adam. So for me, if I am obviously taking my nieces with me, they are children, so I'd like a family cruise for them. If I'm cruising without kids, then adult-only all the way for me. But most of the cruises, I mean, you don't have to do an adult only cruise to have a pretty adult only experience on a cruise. The kids tend to be in places that I never am. You know, I never go near the kids clubs, just don't go down that corridor. I'm probably not in the arcade where the kids are, or if there's a splash park for the kids, like I'll never go near it. So, yeah, I have been on some cruises in school holidays. Most memorable was the P&O cruise I took where there was 900 children on board. On that cruise, notice the kids. But normally, yeah. Oh, Jamie says audiobooks is what I meant. I still class it as reading. I did read something, and it was about how your brain acts in exactly the same way. It's not worse to listen to an audiobook rather than read with your eyes. And I'm reading plenty now, right? Like I'm reading it on the screen. I can read, so that's good. Thank you so much to the moderators who look after these chats. I really, really appreciate it. Neil says, we will stick with the older and smaller ships as the cruise is about the destination. For me, yeah, definitely. I've done some big ships, done some small ships, and it certainly is, if you have a port-intensive itinerary, it certainly is easier to do a smaller ship. Just because otherwise you sort of feel bad that you're not able to do everything on the ship and do everything in port and, yeah. 3,000 people are plenty for me. 3,000 is pretty good. Yeah, I like sort of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. That's sort of a middle range now. Some cruise ships, 6, 7, 8,000, which is just crazy. Is there any type of food that you dislike seeing and or eating on cruise ships? I mean, if I don't like a food, I just won't eat it. So that's fine. I do sometimes see lists and things that come up that say 5 foods to avoid on a cruise or something, and there's nothing that I would avoid particularly. Like, I think cruise ships, they're held to really, really high standards. I trust cruise ships more than I trust most things on land. So I'm not worried about anything particularly. There's things, I mean, I have no interest in people care about lobsters and things on a cruise. Yeah, definitely not me. But other people like it, so go ahead. Have you ever caught COVID on a cruise? I've caught COVID twice. Confirmed. I mean, who knows who has had it since then, really. But back when we were testing, I caught it twice. I only tested positive when I got home. So I was pretty lucky. And it was both Norway cruises. So something about that Norwegian COVID was what got me. You can read. I can read. Yeah, I can read. Never read audiobooks, only books, ebooks, and PDFs. Yes. Oh my goodness. On a spring break cruise, 2,000 kids 17 and under out of 4,000. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. We don't really have spring break in the same way. Really in Europe, I don't think at all. We have, yeah, it's not the same thing, I don't think. Who do you usually travel with? Sometimes with my other half, sometimes with friends, sometimes with family. Anyone who will come, really. Yeah. It's so nice to cruise with different people. I'm glad I get to sort of take my brother sometimes, or go with my parents, or go with a friend, because we always do different things and different people like different things. And, some cruises I'll go roller skating, and then I'll go with someone else whose worst nightmare is roller skating. And I just get to try all kind of different things. What is the story with the Queen Mary 2 print? Any others? So this is our launch. We're, seeing how this goes, of course, but I think it's going very well. I think it is very, very cool. I want to show you it, but you're going to just see my lights. So hopefully that's okay. But it is beautiful, beautiful. I don't know how much you can see. Yeah, you can just see my lights there. But the detail on here, can you see that? Like, it's kind of hard. But it is fantastic. So I'm going to put this on my wall behind me soon. So yes, I hope you like it. It is a different thing. It is different from what we normally do at the cruise maps, but it is just so nice. It is so nice. I think this is one really that my co-founder Matt, his parents met working on Cunard ships, and so I think this is one that Matt wanted particularly. And yeah, I love it. It's pretty. My mum and dad have one too now, so. Beautiful lights. They're hot, these lights. They shouldn't be hot, but I'm in this room. I have to close all my windows because I'm a mid-terraced house, so I have neighbors that side, neighbors that side, neighbors in the garden because the sun's out. So if I have any windows open, you'll hear my neighbors. So I have to close them all, which is normally fine. But it's pretty hot right now. Thank you for the overview of Aqua. Love the video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was so fun. Like I've had so much fun on that cruise. It was so different from what I'm used to, but so sort of I'm very used to cruising with Norwegian, so in some ways very familiar. But to just have like my friend Tony on there and Sherry and Doug on there, and just to bump into different people who I know, and my travel agent team in the UK, they were on there. So yeah, it was really, really fun. Will you be offering different ships? I hope so, yes. I think so. I hope so. I hope so. I can imagine just like tiling the wall almost with these. I think they're so pretty. Do you fancy a heavy metal cruise? In theory, yes. But then probably when I was actually there, I'd be like, this is music's a bit scary. Yeah. Jack admires anyone who is good at maths. I do have a first class maths degree. Hopefully, well, I mean, that doesn't really come in handy for my business, but I do have that. I do have that. Is MSC Virtuosa terribly crowded and difficult? No more so than, I mean, I think MSC ships maybe have less space per person than some other ships because they're cheaper, so they need more people on there. But no more so than any other of the mainstream cruise lines that I've been on anyway. I've only been on Virtuosa just after the pandemic, but I've also been on Meraviglia twice. I've been on Seaview. I've been on Preziosa. I've been on World Europa. Yeah, so I think I have got most of the classes covered. Yeah. Do you take upgrades on cabin class? I do not let anybody upgrade me anymore because when I have booked a cabin, it is on purpose and I don't want to get anything. If I'm not working in any way with a cruise line, I don't let them give me anything. So I actively tell my travel agent, she puts, do not upgrade, do not upgrade, do not upgrade me. So I do miss out on some just genuine upgrades, but I think it is better that way. I've booked a cabin because I want to, if I'm doing an inside cabin, because I want to review that inside cabin. And often an upgrade is not really an upgrade. It might just move, I normally book quirky cabins for a reason. So yeah. Would you consider starting a cruise line called Emma Cruises? Absolutely not. I would take it very personally every single time everyone complained about everything, and I'd be so defensive of my crew, I would get in trouble. No way. No way. Are you finding cruises much more crowded, expensive, and lesser quality than pre-COVID? No, not at all. I don't think things have got worse at all. The ships are the same size. They have the same amount of people on them. Nothing has changed that much. Expensive. I mean, they're more expensive, but everything is more expensive. I don't think it has gone up the same price as just general food or hotels on land. Have you seen how much it costs to stay in a hotel on land? Yeah. Colin says, what is an inexpensive way, not an expensive way to try cruising? I'm terrified I will get seasick, so don't want to commit to a big expensive trip. I'm based in New York, so there's not a lot of options. I normally recommend for people's first cruise not to do a 2-night, a 3-night cruise, just because it does tend to be a bit of a party cruise and it's just not a true reflection of a real cruise. I think sometimes people take a 2-night cruise, they're like, that was not for me. And they miss out on the fact that a 7-night cruise or a 14-night cruise would be completely different. For this, though, if you're worried about seasickness and that's your main thing, and you sort of just want to get a taste of what it's like to look out and see the ocean in every single direction, you could definitely do a 3-night cruise, something like that. But just bear in mind, it's not really a reflection on even that cruise line. I mean, I've taken short cruises with cruise lines like Celebrity, which are normally a very sort of classy, grown-up cruise. On that 3-day cruise, people had blow-up dolls in the library because it was all stag and hen do's and stuff. But yeah, as long as you go onto it with sort of an open mind and you're just looking at seasickness, then a short one is good. Yeah, my squash is cranberry and raspberry today, and I'm not convinced by it. I like cranberry juice. I like raspberries, but I'm just not convinced. Thank you to my mum for sharing this post. The best cruise length for first time cruisers and why it matters. Yes. If ever I don't get the chance to answer your question in these live streams, I probably have in the last, I don't know how many years, 8 years, written a post about it on my website. So if you just Google Emma Cruises and then your question, it will probably come up with it. Or you can go and you can ask AI, what does Emma Cruises say about this? And it will literally say what I say. So yes. Or if you want me to say it, of course, please join us in Patreon. I changed my podcast now. It's now a video podcast instead of an audio podcast. So that will be fun. That will be fun. Do you like mac and cheese? I don't think I really, other than on a cruise. I know Cunard do good mac and cheese. My mum particularly likes that one. But it's not something I eat in my day-to-day life. I like macaroni and I like cheese, so I guess yes. But it could go I probably go 5 years between macaroni cheeses, if that makes sense. You need a Pepsi Max. I really do, because it is really, really hot in here. But I try not to drink Pepsi Max all the time. I try to have it like after dinner, that kind of thing. Can you take extension cords on a cruise? Kind of, yes. Kind of, no. Generally speaking, no. I have a guide to this on my website that goes into more detail because every cruise line has different rules. If in doubt, though, no. What I do is I take the charger, the adapter that has multiple USBs on it and a plug, and then I plug everything into that. I have seen tables and tables of confiscated extension cords, and it's just not worth it. How much is it to join your Patreon? It is $5 a month or whatever the equivalent is in your currency. So yeah, if you join, you can see 204 podcasts. Listen to 204 podcasts from me. Yeah, quite a lot. When did the video podcast start? Have I been living under a rock? Last month. There should be one for you there. There should be one, yeah. Do you have air conditioning where you live? No. I'm just bear with me. Thanks, moderators. Weird things going on in here. But generally, no. There's no air conditioning in my house, or I don't know anyone that has proper air conditioning in their house. In offices, yes, sometimes. But I used to work in Asda. Before that, I worked in Primark. They didn't have air conditioning when I worked there, so it was so hot. So hot. What is the best way to get a wheelchair room? You are going to want a good travel agent because they are the ones who will know things further in advance. They know which ships and which itineraries are being launched. And you really have to book quite far in advance if you need an accessible cabin because they sell out. They sell out so fast. So yeah, good travel agent worth their weight in gold. Would you buy and build a Lego Titanic? I would love to build the Lego Titanic. I don't know if you have seen how much the Lego Titanic costs. If anyone wants to send me, where can you buy it? Lego vouchers, then I will buy it and make it. It will take ages. But yeah, that's very expensive. Very, very expensive. Impressive though. Yeah, it rarely gets hot enough in the UK to need it. I go sit in the car. Yes, it would be totally fine if I had the windows open and I didn't have studio lights on me. It's just for the live stream. For you guys. Will you ever do a world cruise? I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do for my whole life. Maybe. Not anytime soon, though. Definitely not anytime soon. Get the Temu version. Have you got the time or patience to build the Lego Titanic? Probably this would be like a year-long project, but I feel like you could do it in little sections, right? You can just do a couple of pages, and then they're all split up, right, aren't they? Haven't done a Lego in a very long time. But yes, I think so. What is the longest cruise you have been on, or multiples back-to-back? 2 weeks. 2 weeks is my longest cruise, yes. Tony built it, yes. Yes, Tony likes his Lego. Very, very cool. Is the middle of a ship cabin really stable, or can you feel the motion anyway? I've heard that the cabins at the front and the back are the worst. Yes, absolutely they are the worst. And sometimes it can be very, very noticeably different. So I took a cruise on board the Queen Mary 2, this lovely ship. And I could just use this to show you where I was. So I was on this ship, and I had a cabin on deck 5, which must be about in here, right in the middle. 5 or 6? 6, right in the middle here. And my parents had a cabin like here, and my dad would spend his days in my cabin just because the movement was less here than here. So it is noticeably different. If you are worried about feeling movement, it is, I would say, it is worth paying extra to go in the middle. This is one of those situations where I give advice and then I don't take advice because I just think it's fun. So whenever I book a cabin, I let the cruise line pick, and sometimes I'm at the front or the back or the top or the bottom. But it's just like you might not feel any movement anywhere. You might have a great cruise and not feel any movement. You might not hit a storm, you'll be fine. The whole ship is fine. If you do hit bad weather, you might have like 2 out of 10 movement here and 6 out of 10 here. Like it's just higher. It's just higher. Yeah. Okay, put that there. That was a very handy prop. Very handy prop. If it was a Lego Queen Mary, that would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, Jamie says I've stayed in cabins near the back and didn't notice any movement. Yeah, I've had cabins that are the back, that are looking backwards, and we didn't feel any movement at all. It's just going to be worse at the end and higher up. I would prioritize probably being further down. Even if you're at the front or the back, being further down, but down and in the middle is the smoothest place for sure. And that's why when I talk about upgrades, my parents on this cruise, they had booked a cabin. Where is it? Oh, here. So these ones that you see here, you see these white ones? These are balconies. They're protected balconies, so they're kind of in. They had maybe one of these, and they were upgraded to a non-protected balcony up here. So the upgrade was much worse in terms of position, but in Cunard's list of what is a good cabin, they were upgraded. So, yeah. Yeah, pick a cruise itinerary somewhere calm. Yeah, people often ask me, what are the seas going to be like? What are the chances that we feel movement and we have bad weather? And that's just like asking what the weather is like, because it's just, that is what it is. If the weather is bad, there's going to be more wind and there's going to be more waves and the weather's going to be worse. And I have no idea, it's impossible to predict to an extent. Obviously, if you do a nice summer cruise, you go round, if you go round the Med or you're not sailing very far, then you probably will have good weather. If you're doing a transatlantic in January like me, you're going into the Arctic Circle in March, things I have done, then you're more likely to get bad weather. Were the haven cabins at the stern so you would feel the movement more, or was the extra luxury big enough to be a distraction? Yeah, exactly. So people worry, I think, a lot about the cabin location. On most cruises, you don't feel anything. And the fact that cruise lines put all of their suites at the front and the back, I think says a lot, because they're the people who are paying the most money. And normally the suites are at the back or the front. So on Haven, the whole Haven area, that's all at the back. We didn't have any movement at all. I mean, the part where I was in Haven, so this bit, I was in my normal balcony cabin, and then that bit I was in Haven. But as you can see, we didn't really go very far. So we didn't have any bad weather at all. Who has the best French onion soup? I don't think I've really eaten French onion soup much on a cruise. It is such a cruise thing. Such a cruise thing. There's certain foods that I just think that is, I've never eaten that anywhere apart from a cruise. The Queen Mary 2 frame, where do you buy it? So this is one that you can get on the cruisemaps.com. So that is a company that I co-founded with 2 guys, Matt and Will, and we normally do these sort of itinerary prints. So these are the maps that you make after the cruise. That's where the ship really went. But we're expanding into these, which I think is really cool. So yeah, the cruisemaps.com. If you want to use Emma Cruises, that's a discount code for everything. Everything. Have you been inside a cruise ship lifeboat? You might be expecting me to say no, because I've never been in any sort of bad situation. But I have been, because they do use the lifeboats sometimes just as tender boats. So if you're in a port where the ship can't get in because there's just not space for a ship that size to dock, often they'll stop. They'll put everyone on tender boats and they'll go in and come back. And they often do that with the lifeboats. So yeah, I have been in lifeboats. How did she read that? How did I read what? Can they highlight your cabin on the print? No, I don't think so. This is a very, very impressive designer who did this. How people have these kind of art skills just blows my mind. But once you have this, if you wanted to mark on it, feel free. Feel free. You could do. Oh, Le Bistro's French onion soup is the best. There we go. Neil knows it. I would trust that, I don't think I've ever had that. I have been in Le Bistro. But yes. Yes, Lucy from Cruising as Crew did a lifeboat video. She did. I have a post on my website about Lucy's video about the lifeboat. So yeah, really interesting to see how many people they think will fit in those lifeboats, because that would not be pleasant. Like, people were sitting between each other's legs all the way up. It's a lot. Matthew says, I'm an avid princess cruiser, but I'm trying NCL Aqua in October of this year. Any tips for the new experience? Exciting. So, Norwegian versus Princess. That's a bit tricky. So Norwegian are much more of a casual cruise line. You're not going to find any formal nights at all. There's not really dress codes. As long as you're dressed. Le Bistro, I think, is the only place where you have to wear long trousers. That's a specialty restaurant. But everywhere else, all good. Make sure you get some of the sort of 24-hour food in Oceans or whatever it's called, the local. That's really good. And you probably, if you're on the newer ships, you'll probably have to book the shows on the app. So don't miss the shows. If you see that it's sold out though, like, keep looking, because people will cancel and they'll come back. Some of those lifeboats cost more than my house. Yeah, I'm sure. Do you mind sharing your all-time favorite cabins? So I think probably my favorite cabins are a combination of Prima and Aqua, because they're pretty much the same cabin. The design is a bit different, but pretty much the same cabin. And I just like it because it has little things that just make sense. Like the way that the shower door opens, it sort of twists against the wall so that it doesn't take up any room in the bathroom, so you can get into the shower. It has it has a drawer in the bathroom, which is a real treat. It has these little baskets for t-shirts and stuff in the cabin, and USBs A and C. Very, very nice. Any cabin with a bath, of course, but that just feels unrealistic to me. So of the cabins that I stay in normally, something like that. The one I had on Norwegian Spirit, of course, that had a bath. So yeah. The Haven Suite. I mean, the Haven Suite, I had 2 bathrooms. I had 2 toilets, and the toilets were nicer than any toilet, weird thing to say, that I've ever had on a cruise ship. Sometimes I hear myself and I forget that I'm on the internet. 199 people. Terrifying. But yeah, if you haven't seen the video, check out the toilets, because after 76 cruises of the toilets always being the same, I thought they'd always be the same, but it turns out I just hadn't got through those doors. I hadn't got through those doors. I thought you said in a video you were vegetarian, but you have eaten meat in more recent videos. Yeah, I was vegetarian a couple of years ago for about 3 years. So yeah, that is that. Neil says MSC is cheaper and worth trying, but the service and food quality is not the same at all. I mean, if you pay a quarter of the price, I wouldn't expect the food and service quality to be the same. So I think you get what you pay for, and you don't pay much, and you get everything is, it's not dirty, it's not unsafe, it's just fine, So, and there's certain things that MSC do so much better than other cruise lines, like bread. Their bread is amazing. So it just depends what you prioritize. Steve says, will you be releasing a cruise ship toilet tier list anytime soon? Norwegian Haven, everything else. That is it. That is it. You should give us Britishisms on the live stream too, like a bonus. I mean, I rely on the live streams for you guys to tell me what my Britishisms are, and then I use those, and I base them always on the questions that I get. What are your thoughts on silent discos on cruise ships? Pretty good. I think they can be quite fun. They're not silent though. The silent bit is not true. So a silent disco is where you have the headphones on, and there'll be a couple of different channels, like a green channel, blue channel, yellow channel, that kind of thing. And you can change the song in them, and then you can see who else is listening to the same song. And yeah, I think they're quite fun. They're silly, but they're good fun. And I took my nieces to one on Royal Caribbean. They had such a great time. It's so funny. It's not silent at all, because you just hear people singing. You hear people like stomping their feet around, and yeah, interesting. MSC's pizza, yeah, MSC's pizza. Like you cannot argue with that. What is the worst vibrations you've had on a cruise ship? I took a cruise on a cruise ship that was made in the 1980s, and that was very vibratey, but you sort of would expect it. We were in this bar that was round the funnel, the very, very old, iconic Royal Caribbean funnel bars that they used to have, and you know, it would shake. It would genuinely shake. But that ship has been scrapped now, so that's sad. But on some cruises, if they put their main dining room right at the back, like they do on a lot of ships, like this is the exact opposite. So on most cruise ships, they will have right at the front. I can't show you the front. Here we go. Right at the front, this is the theatre. Well, in here somewhere. And then at the back is the main dining room. And these are the most movement. So Queen Mary 2 is different. She's an ocean liner. And the important things are all in the middle on purpose. Oh. Oh, yeah, there we are. The cruise maps. Wondering what that sticker was. Stay there, please. Yeah, stay. 2,691 guests on that ship. Very cool. You mentioned in your Aqua video that wearing a lanyard reminded you of your office day job. What did you do before this? I was a data developer for a group of car insurers, and every time the very big company bought a new car insurance company, I would have to make the data match and then send it to finance, send it to actuarial, that kind of stuff. So yeah, just coding, numbers all day. It was fine, but it was not, I did not get excited about it like the other people did. But I did that job for 6 years. Before that, I worked in Asda and I worked in Primark. Lego Titanic, $679. That is a lot more than I thought it would be. But apparently it's not as bad as some people were imagining. Emma needs visual aids for all chats. It's really handy. It's really handy, actually, yeah. There's certain things that I just want to do. Have to confess, I love my data entry job. That sounds great. Data entry, I think, would be quite satisfying. My job was not it was not satisfying. Well, it was for some people. But yeah, sometimes I go to like cruise conferences or river conferences and stuff, and it's just so different from insurance. Insurance was very much like the only way to succeed is to dress like a proper business person and things. And now, you know, when I hang out in the Cruise Maps office, like we've created this company ourselves and no one is wearing a tie, like it's a complete opposite. So good. Don't regret it for a second. What are your major hobbies outside of cruising and traveling? I don't have time for a lot of things outside cruising and traveling because the first thing I do when I wake up, check my emails while I'm still in bed, and same before I go to bed. And to be honest, even if I'm like in a swimming pool or I'm in the bath, I'm on my phone and I'm doing work about cruises because I love it. I love it so much. So I think that ties into what my sort of hobbies are because I really like going to the theatre. And I think I like going to the theatre because then I have my phone turned off for like 2 hours. And that is just unthinkable to me. So I really like going to the theatre. I like a lot of history, like documentaries and audiobooks and like Victorian history and Tudors and that kind of stuff. And I like to go to like, there's a lot of palaces and castles and things. But that's it. Things that take me like away from my internet. But I love it. That's the thing. Things are always happening. That's why I started this business. Because I just thought it was fun. And I'd come back from a cruise and try and tell my colleagues about it and they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care at all. So now I talk and you guys care, which is really weird. Really weird. But so good. So good. Thank you so much. Will the cruises before 2015 be viewable later, or will they never be viewable on Cruise Globe? So they will be viewable in a way. Pretty much in 2015, cruise ships started having to drop off data when they did a cruise. Before that, they didn't have to do that. So there isn't data for every cruise before 2015. But we have had, I think, 160 something thousand cruises added to the Cruise Globe in 2 months, which is unbelievable. So we know now with some really good certainty how a cruise ship goes from A to B, right? Obviously, if your cruise in 2002 got from this port to this port and it did a little loop in the middle, we're not going to know because it doesn't exist. But what we can do is we will be basically mocking up, based on all of that data, the most common way that a cruise ship went from port to port. So for now, you can still add them into the cruise globe. It comes up in your stats and stuff, so you don't want to miss out on it. And then at some point, when we have that done, they'll be going on there. So it's not going to be long until we have that. We're working on the app. We're working on adding river cruises. We're adding live ship data in there because that will be really, really cool very, very soon. But yes, it's all coming, all coming. Yeah, been listening to Unruly by David Mitchell. It's a history book. I have listened to that one. I like that one. I'm listening to one at the minute that's called How to Be a Victorian, which I think is so interesting because the kind of history that I find interesting is things like everyday things. Like it's talking about why people thought that they went bald in the Victorian time, or what they thought was a good idea for exercise for women, and like the everyday kind of stuff. And I find that so interesting. I think also because in my spare time, listen a lot to history and I research things, it puts things into perspective a lot because, you know, someone's complaining about this shampoo or whatever that's on the cruise and the cruise lines changed the brand of shampoo. And I just think it's not even that long ago that humans started washing with water. Like, we're so lucky to be alive now. It is just crazy. So it makes me grateful for absolutely everything. And I think that's why I like it. What video editing software do you use? So for my YouTube videos, I use DaVinci. Before that, I used Final Cut Pro. So I'm using DaVinci kind of in Final Cut Pro shortcut mode, if that makes sense. And then on my phone for short videos and captions and stuff, I normally use CapCut. Will we be able to print one map with all your cruises? You can't print more than one route on a map. It looks absolutely awful. We've tried different ways. It's so messy. The scale is all wrong. We don't want to do that. We don't want to make something that is not perfect. So the physical prints are one cruise per map, just like this one. And then what we have done is we have made a website version called thecruiseglobe.com, which is free. And on there, you have all of your cruises. So if you go on there, you can create what is called the cruise passport that has the whole world on it. It has every place that you've been to on a cruise. It has your top cruise lines, your top ports, all that kind of stuff. But that's one of the reasons that we made the Cruise Globe, was because we got sort of requests like this. And we also wanted a way for people to be able to preview their cruise before they decided which ones they wanted to print out. There's some questions about certain ships on the Cruise Globe. If you have any things that you think are not quite right, or any questions, or if there's a ship that you want added that you don't have, please just email us hello@thecruisemaps.com and we'll be able to add those in there. Also, if you just have any thoughts, like if you have any thoughts about this, let me know if you like it. Please email us if you have any thoughts about the Cruise Globe, anything about, you know, our album, anything. We read every single one. We talk about them all as a team, and most of the decisions we make are because someone, you know, people are suggesting it. So we want to make it the best thing ever. What is your favorite continent to cruise in? It will be Asia. There we go. I have an answer to that question. It is almost the end of the live stream. So if you do have any quick fire questions and you can get them in, I'll try to answer as many as I can. Yeah, the only problem I have with our 6 cruise maps is having the skill to hang them in a proper line along the stairs. Yes. Agreed. Totally agree. Stairs are particularly hard, I think. I don't think that I have all kinds of different shapes and size things on my stairs, so it kind of is on purpose not matching. That makes sense. But I have the similar ones around here. Have you been on an Egyptian Nile cruise? I've not. I have been doing some research into it recently because TUI just announced, the British cruise line, river cruise line TUI, just announced that they're going there. So I am doing some research, putting together a post about it and that kind of thing. Did you ever have a memorable crossing the line ceremony? Yes. So I cruised into the Arctic Circle for the first time in 2018, I think it was, a really long time ago, on a little Viking press trip. I think we did 4 days of a big cruise, little press trip, and we went into the Arctic Circle. We joined the cruise already up there, or yeah, we must have, because the main ceremony for everyone else had already happened. And they basically filled up what would be the hot tub, like the long hot tub. They filled it entirely with ice and we had to plunge into it. There are videos of it on my channel, I think, way back if you want to check them out. But you plunge into this pool of ice. You know the thing for swimming where they have a big stick with like a hook on the end? And they have that there because they say, well, some people will seize up and they won't be able to get out the ice. So that was reassuring. But I did get out the ice and they give you a shot and put this blue foamy stuff on your nose. But that's good. You're only supposed to do it the first time. You don't have to do it again. So every time since, I've been like, I've already done it. Do you post your upcoming cruises? No, I don't. It's just not a good idea when so many people see my face on the internet. I wish I could. I really wish I could, but it's just not safe. Interesting questions in here. Interesting questions. Do you think you'll take a cruise on celebrity river cruises? Yeah, I mean, I like river cruises and I like celebrity cruises. And if they take what they do and put it on the rivers, then I think I would do it. And I think I would like it. I think it's an interesting idea because there's already a lot of river cruise lines, right? But when I have gone on river cruises, I've realized that there's not really a crossover that much between river cruising and ocean cruising. I used to think that it would be similar. But most people I speak to on a river cruise say, oh no, I'd never go on one of those big ships. They really don't like the idea. So if celebrity can get over their ocean cruises to river, I think that would be really interesting. I have been to Hawaii, yes, but I was a child and I was asleep a lot of the time. I was jet lagged and I don't really remember all that much about it. Yeah. Have you ever met anyone famous besides YouTube? Probably the most famous person who I've met on a cruise was when I did a cooking class with Marco Pino White, if you know who that is, the chef. And I made a risotto and he said it was very good. And then I never made it again. And that was a long time ago. How are you coping with the heat? Personally, I'm looking forward to mild temperatures next week, says Max. I've been doing totally fine until I shut myself in this room, closed all the windows and put studio lights on me. Now I'm quite hot, but I'm doing good. I think 20 degrees Celsius is just perfect. If it could just be that weather for, I mean, I would take that 11 months of the year and then 1 month we can have cold and we can have Christmas and then straight back to 20 degrees. I want to be able to wear shorts. I want to be able to wear a t-shirt. That's just the perfect temperature. I can still walk the dog. That's the thing. You have to get up very early and walk the dog early when it's hot. So yes. Ever eaten a Hawaiian pizza? Of course. What is on your pizza tonight? It is just a vegetable pizza. Jack says, thank you again for a wonderful hour. Always enjoy my Friday lunch hour with you. Yes. Calling off the paddling pool after this live. That would be very tempting. I do have a paddling pool. We got one for Rolo, my dog, because when we adopted him, he came across from Romania. It was a UK charity, but he'd been living outside in kennels his entire life, never had a bath. But obviously, when you first adopt a dog, you can't just straight away put them in the shower because he wouldn't like that. So we had to get him a paddling pool, put some doggy soap in it, and then try and get him to like play in it, which it worked, but I do have it. Show us the dog. I'd love to show you the dog. He has been on a live stream before, and he's on my Instagram quite a lot. If you just follow me, Emma Cruises, that's where I put sort of everyday stuff because I can't look after him and be on the live stream at the same time. He's 1 years old, so he's still a puppy, and he'll chew Captain Hudson or something, and we don't want that. All right, so that is the end of our live stream. That was a very fast hour. Thank you so much, everybody. And I will be here the same time next week. So I'm going to have Dan here, my US travel agent. We're going to talk about, hopefully, we'll be able to book Morella and Tui for all of you outside the UK, which is very cool. And we'll generally have any questions if you have any thoughts about travel agents at all. Dan knows so much more than me about booking cruises in the US. It's a different game. Oh, I made a mess. Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a lovely long weekend. Enjoy the sun or whatever it is like where you are. But yeah, 5 p.m. UK, 12 p.m. Eastern next week on Friday. I will be here. All right. Bye, everybody.